Howdy, folks. Welcome to the Piscopod, episode number 5. I am your host. My name is Sasha. Thanks for tuning in. I am broadcasting with my Shady Brady on from the fringes of Stampede City. I'm in the bowels of my studio, Sin City Sound Recording Studios, and thanks for tuning in. Now, before we get started, I want to send some positive juju to my friends and that are like family down in Texas Hill Country. I don't know if you folks have been following the news or not over the festive weekend, but they've been hit by devastating flash floods. Guadalupe River, many of the rivers down in Hill Country have breached the banks, and it's sheer devastation. Now, mixed reports are coming in fast and furious, and the toll so far has been anywhere between 50 people, I think I've read, and 79 people, sadly, many of them children, that were caught up in these flash floods. They were at a camp, of all things, right, enjoying, what would be America's 4th of July weekend this weekend, right? So anyway, so they're down there and in their camp, and inadequate warnings from early reports, and their camp literally got swept away with flash floods. I've seen horrifying videos of cabins or houses with people in it floating down the middle of the river screaming for help. The one video I did see, thankfully those people were rescued, but it's not good down there. So, good juju, thoughts and prayers, whatever you want to send their way, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated at this time. It's so sad. Campgrounds washed away with people sleeping inside their campers. You can't even fathom that. And I know how them Texans, like I said, I got friends that are like family that live down there in Texas Hill Country. I've spoken with them throughout the weekend since this has happened, and they're doing okay, thankfully, but there's many others out there that are still missing. Kudos to the Trump administration. They seen how devastating these floods were, and when help was needed, reports within an hour, they had helicopters down there searching for people within an hour. Folks, say what you want about Trump's administration, but that guy takes care of his people. Anyway, moving along, we are thinking of you guys down there, and we hope that more people are found in safe condition. FEMA and rescue groups down there have said that the good side is, if anybody has been to Texas at this time of year, it's hotter than blazes down there. So these warm temperatures are actually a good thing, because it'll prevent more people from succumbing to things like hypothermia if they were in the water and stuck on a roof somewhere or in a tree or whatever the case is. So I hope that everything pans out down there soon for those people. And what a terrible thing to happen on such an important weekend for my American friends. So moving on here, like I said, we're broadcasting in Stampede City, Calgary Crab Fest. No, I'm sorry, it's the Calgary Stampede, and it's the biggest outdoor show on earth. If any of you have ever been to like a Texas or a state fair, those are pretty big, but it's nothing compared to the Calgary Stampede. We had Canadian icon Shania Twain leading the Stampede Parade for a record attendance of 335,000 people. Hats off, literally, to the Calgary Police Service The parade went off without a hitch. 335,000 people in this day and age is a risky endeavor, to say the least. All sorts of things have been hitting us this week on the news. Beloved Ozzy Osbourne played his final show in his hometown of Birmingham, England. I'll report a little more on that later. What else can we tell you? Happy birthday to America. This is I believe it's their 250th birthday. I could be wrong. Anyway, you don't look a day over 225. All sorts of things going on with the birthday. There's going to be people blowing their fingers off. And, again, back to the folks in Texas. I've been to Texas on the 4th of July. They do it big time. And I can only imagine how many people will end up being affected by the floods going on. But everywhere else in that great country, they are celebrating the birthday. I think it's 250. Like I said, I'm not sure. But happy birthday. I hope you guys are all safe. I've seen some pretty amazing displays with the B-2 bomber flying over the White House and stuff with the accompanying or the F-15s or whatever those, say what you will. It's impressive. And I imagine when people around the world see displays like that, it's impressive. And now I'm sure I'm going to get the mail from all the dweebs that are like, oh yeah, the guy's like the Chinese dictator, right? He has big parades and displays of power and might. And it's like, yeah, folks, that's the world we live in. Sorry, Sorry about your luck, but that's the world we live in. Anyway, they're celebrating down there. I've seen some cool videos of people that were celebrating the 4th, which would have been Friday. Many hungover videos, those that are, celebrating the 5th are still in there. Alligator Alcatraz, that's been a big thing on the news. Mixed reviews, to say the least. Whoever thought of selling merch is a fucking genius, because I'll be honest, man, I want a Alligator Alcatraz zip hoodie, man. So if anybody out there, any of my American friends, if you can, if they're selling, or even a hat, I'll wear it on the show, man. Mixed reviews. Of course, the lefties, they call it concentration camp. The Republicans call it a detention center, which is kind of what it is. Now, there's many people out there that think that human beings are free and they should be able to go wherever the hell they want and live wherever they want, and that's just it. Nomadic, and if you want to live in this country one day and another country another day, you should just be able to move right in. I mean, in a perfect world, that sounds like utopia. It really does. I would love to just be able to pick up and take my assets and move them to somewhere that I would like better without getting shafted by my own government here in Canada. But that ain't the world we live in. So these people that are in these detention centers are illegal aliens. I feel for those people. I do. But I'm an immigrant. I came to this country through all the loopholes and red tape, for better or for worse, and through the process, and got my citizenship the way that it's supposed to be. How do I feel about the immigration policy, both in my country and in that country, meaning the United States, is I am all for immigration, but I'm also all for, you really, especially these days, you need to look into who the hell is coming on over. Canada is no better. We have all sorts of sordid individuals here. The fella that cut the guy's head off and ate part of him on the Greyhound bus. for, to horrified onlookers riding the bus to Saskatchewan somewhere. This guy's out. And I'm sure that he's being monitored, but like anything else the government does is patchy at best. So whether you agree with the immigration policy of the current administration or even in my Canadian government, I happen to disagree with it. We are just flooding our streets with people that we have no idea who they are or why they're here and what they're fleeing. Not all, but many of them with criminal records, violent records. Where I live, it's obvious that the further into the areas where the new Canadians live, the more you're risking your life just by getting behind the wheel of your car. I've seen vehicles coming down the freeway. How they got into the wrong lane is beyond comprehension, because you would literally have to really fuck things up in order to get that turned around that you are heading southbound into northbound traffic. But I see it all the time. There's an app, Bad Drivers of Calgary, on Facebook. If you want to see what we deal with here, it's pretty hilarious. Back to, international stuff. The big, beautiful bill was passed by the Republican Party, Congress, whatever, the process. And I'll be honest, I have not done enough research into this to see, the pros and cons. I have friends and acquaintances through social media that are completely devastated by this news. I have many others that are hailing this as wonderful news. I hope that somehow they can come to a happy medium. I get what the government is trying to do down there. Trim the fat. They're probably one of the only governments that's doing that. When I speak of my leader in charge, Montgomery Carnage Carney, we are hurting here in Canada. Homelessness is up. Food shelter or food bank visits are up. Housing prices are skyrocketing. There's so much that he could do with the money that he's sending to foreign countries for humanitarian, for war efforts, for whatever. And I am wondering how long he's going to stretch it before Canadians break. I think it's getting close. I can taste it in the air. People are getting really pissed off. Me personally, I'm tired of going to the grocery store and spending $100 to get a half a bag of groceries, a paper bag, not like the big sacks, the reusable things that, Sobeys and those guys want you to haul around. You can't afford that. Your basic trip to the Costco is $1,000, and you can fit that all into one cart. U.S. aid in America is or has finished. And again, mixed reviews on both sides. You get the multimillionaires like George Clooney and stuff, like he just thinks that this is the end of the world. Whereas in bean counters, on the other hand, they're like, yeah, this is a smart move, given that it costs American taxpayers almost $40 billion a year to fund these out-of-country, not humanitarian in all cases, but infrastructure. Now, for those that are against it, they're saying it's a horrible thing to cut off these poor, starving countries from this kind of money and aid. But then they kind of gloss over the fact that one official from USAID and 3 corporate executives have been found guilty of fleecing $550 million of taxpayer dollars to line their pockets. So what do you do? Do you let them continue to fleece the taxpayers, or do you at least shut it down and review what you need to and maybe come up with something better where people aren't getting burned? Denmark, lots of things going on. Denmark, they've banned burqas. Of course, those people that wear burqas are losing their shit over it. It's discrimination. I watched a thing on Netflix the other day on the London bombers when they blew up the double-decker buses and the tube, they call it, their underground railway. Anyway, one of the attackers was, he managed to move through the streets of London when they were looking for him because he was wearing a burqa, like the full beekeeper outfit, right? So they didn't know that it was a guy; they just figured that it was a Muslim woman, right? So, I'm all for freedom of religion, fly your freak flag, but when you are turning a country upside down with your religion, I just can't wrap my head around the lawmakers and the politicians that are supposed to look out for our best interests that are allowing this to happen. It's happening in Canada as well. There was a big thing a while ago about the Sikhs. We have helmet laws. So helmet laws they serve their purpose. There's things that serve their purpose. Helmet laws, the insurance companies fought for helmet laws. There's clear data that it has reduced brain injury type accidents when you're riding a motorcycle. Any motorcycle wipeout is a bad wipeout. And you could be going slow and it's a bad wipeout. But so the Sikhs fought that they should be able to ride motorcycles and not have to wear a helmet because of the turbans that they wear as part of their religious faith. So, of course, they won. I don't have a problem with them winning. But I thought that, okay, well, maybe our legislators will make the helmet laws individual. So if I feel like, if I want to go down to 7-Eleven and grab a Slurpee on my Harley, and I don't want to wear a helmet, I should be able to do that, right? Because Push Pinder next door, he gets to whip around on his Vulcan and wear no helmet. But no, that's not what they did. They passed specific legislation that requires me to wear a helmet, and they do not have to wear a helmet. And they didn't even put a caveat in the legislation to say that, okay, if you don't want to wear a helmet, no problem. But if you hit the bricks and all of a sudden you need crayons and coloring books for the rest of your life, it's going to be on you. But they didn't do that either. So, you just scratch your head. You scratch your head with where these people, where their thinking comes from, right? It's bigoted or discriminatory one way, but when it's going the other way, it doesn't matter. It's not discriminatory for you. It's just safer for you. That's how they sell it. So again, you guys might be wondering, I got my Shady Brady on. Like I said early on in the show, we are taping from the fringes of Calgary, Alberta. home of the Calgary Stampede. We got that going on. $14 a beer, I've heard. So, yeah, that's pretty interesting. I seen some of the menu items. There's some cool stuff. That's one of the big parts of the Calgary Stampede for any of my friends that aren't in the area. We have all the crazy foods, like, the fried Snickers bars, and every year there's some other shit that they concoct. That's the next big thing. But what blew me away was the prices on stuff. They had like a lemonade, and it looked like it had like a rubber alligator in it with some, I don't know, gummy worms. I don't know what the whole shit behind it is, but it was $24. So the grounds are packed. So somebody's making a ton of money and has some spending cash here in Calgary. What else can I tell you guys? All the Canadian political bigwigs are in town for the festivities. Pierre Poilievre got a huge raucous show of approval when he walked on stage at Cowboys. Great venue. They really pull out all the stops every Stampede. I was lucky enough to play there. I believe it was in 2005. My band opened up for David Lee Roth of Van Halen, of all things. So that was pretty cool. And they just do it bigger and better every single year. So Poilievre went out on stage there, and packed house, went bananas. On the flip side, Carney had the gall to show his melon at the grandstand show right on the Stampede grounds. And from the videos that I seen, there was a shitload of people booing him. People are like, it wasn't everyone. No, granted, it wasn't everyone in the stands, but it was most of them. So I think the tides are turning for him. Him and his Liberal Party, just in the healthcare alone, back in 2003, just to give you an example, you would have to wait with a doctor referral, like if you needed a procedure and stuff like that. You would have to wait approximately 9.3. So let's just say 10 weeks. You had to wait 10 weeks and you'd get in to see a specialist and they'd book you for an operation or whatever the case is. Now, a decade, a little over a decade later, it's 7 months. 7 months you have to wait. So we can't go on like this anymore, folks. We just can't. We are ready to burst at the seams. Everything is just costing lots of money. Carney is not very well liked. Of course, down east where, he calls Alberta home, and it's just like, you are just so not welcome here, buddy. Really. Beat it. Hit the bricks. But down east, there's still supporters. There's going to be still supporters here in Alberta too, but he is losing ground fast. He's not doing anything. And he's reversed I don't know how many promises. He's just not winning votes, folks. Just not winning votes. Before I end the show, I do want to give a shout out to my beautiful wife. It's our anniversary today, 23 years. And she's letting me do this down here today while she is upstairs with the dogs. So I'll give her a cheers. A friend of ours gifted me a very nice single malt scotch, and I'm having a bit on ice as I do the show. So cheers. Tanya, I love you. Happy 23rd anniversary. And I have to say I'm a lucky guy in the sense of you don't find people like that very often that have the longevity in a relationship. We've seen our ups and downs and everything in between. And I really, truly am honest and heartfelt when I say that. I couldn't imagine doing it with any other person. So, Tanya, baby, I love you. Happy 23. Here's to another 23. Cheers, dear. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in. But before I go, I do want to acknowledge that I'm getting older. All my heroes, they are also aging. Ozzy Osbourne played his final show to a massive crowd. I don't know if you've seen it, but it was massive. Massive. Tears in the audience. It's hard to see your heroes get old. He played the entire show sitting down, and he belted it. You know, there were some moments that it was like, yeah, you know, but you got to give the guy, for the amount of copious drugs and boozing and everything in between that guy's done his entire career. I mean, I give him props. That last show, he brought all the original members of Black Sabbath on stage to play, including drummer Bill Ward, who he's had a contentious relationship for many, many decades with. And he brought a host of, again, Sharon Osbourne. You know, they're giving her shit, you know, making money. And it's like, yeah, it's her husband. And, you know, he looks frail. He's the one and only artist that I think that when they say that, this is their last show, this is their last show. But having said that, I think he's said that before. But he definitely looks like that it's time for him. Lots of tears for the show. Lots of great songs and artists up there playing. Nuno Betancourt, man, he was shredding the solos. There's this new guy that I've been looking into, Youngblood. I think he was crowned the new dude, man, in music, because he did this rendition of Changes that just blew my mind. I mean, it was Freddie Mercury-esque, and I know that I'm going to get hate mail for that, but I'm telling you, check it out online if you haven't seen it. It was very, very impressive. We had Jakey Lee back on stage playing songs. Again, like I said, Nuno Betancourt. We had a bunch of Chad Smith on drums and Tommy Clufaitis on drums. And it was just a big spectacle, like you know it would be with Ozzy Osbourne's, which I believe is his final show. So yeah, folks, time marches on for us all, if that's the lesson to be learned from it. Thank you for tuning in. Again, I'm thinking of all my friends in Texas. I hope you remain safe. And I hope things turn for the better for you real soon. I know that help is on the ground there, and you guys are tough as nails, man. I know that if anybody can bounce back from this as quickly as possible, it is the Lone Star State. So love one another. Get out there. If the weather is nice, play with your dogs. Tomorrow is not guaranteed for anyone. So get out there and say something that says something. Thanks for tuning in, folks. This one's a little short one. Again, it's my anniversary, so I better get back to doing some anniversary things. The weather is nice down here, and I think we're going to grill something up nice for supper and just enjoy each other's company for a bit in this hectic, busy world that we inhabit. Thanks again, folks, for tuning in. We will see you next week for episode number 6. Hopefully I got more good news and not as much bad news. Anyway, until then, see ya!